Well, hello, Dirtfish Rally friends. Saturday evening here in Umeå. We've just had behind us, in fact, it's still going on, the final Umeå sprint of the day. The longest, it's just what they calling it, the sprint, James.
It's not the sprint anymore, Colin.
It's
just the Umeå stage.
The Umeå stage, yes, the longer version. There are two versions. It's all been happening in there this evening, I tell you. We'll come to that very shortly. To be honest with you, it's all been happening out in the stages today. James, it was a very different day from yesterday in terms of the weather, the conditions out there.
Yeah, the snow's gone. Conditions relatively stable. But the conditions on the stages actually have been starting to deteriorate because the car's been finally wearing away into that ice space, which as we spoke to the drivers on Thursday, was quite thin. And so on the second pass, it wasn't just after the cars had been through in the morning. The historic rally, which is also running at the same time as Rally Sweden, they'd been through in between passes, churning up the stages, and those conditions were deteriorating. And when we heard from Oliver Solberg, actually, that he was describing the second to last stage, the long 28-kilometre stage, is basically a summer gravel stage.
Yeah, very different conditions from the conditions we saw out there yesterday. Who is the man who coped with those conditions best? Well, it's difficult to say, but the man who leads at the end of the day, heading into the final day tomorrow, is Esa-Pekka Lappi. It's been a remarkable day out there for Lappi. His lead in excess of 1 minute and 6 seconds. There's a very good reason for that, which we will come on to shortly. We were enjoying that battle, weren't we, this morning, James, between Esa-Pekka and Takamoto. We kind of suspected that we might not be able to enjoy it all the way through the day, but in terms of who blinked first, it was very much Takamoto Katsuta.
It was Taka-san. We had one stage, didn't we, where Taka set a great time. He closed back into, I think, within a second of Esa-Pekka Lappi.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was all over. He's very, very unfortunately took a corner too quickly. It was a nothing corner, really. It wasn't one that any other driver had noted. Just too much speed, and he almost caught it, but then
very, very nearly caught it. We'll talk later on in the review with Jari-Matti Latvala just to get his views on that. But, you know, that incident for Taka-san, very, very disappointing. But it did mean that Esa-Pekka Lappi had a monster lead. And, you know, with the best part of a day and a half to go, sometimes that's really difficult to manage, difficult to find the right pace, difficult to find the right level of concentration and focus. But Lappi has done well with that lead today.
He has. He's managed it perfectly. You know, he's kept a cool head. You know, his rally changed completely in that moment. And I think he said he'd already seen it before he started the stage, so he knew going into the second stage of the day, okay, my game plan has completely changed here. But he has handled it remarkably well. As we've spoken to him, he's been pretty cool-headed. He's been Esa-Pekka Lappi as you'd expect him to be. But yeah, great day for him. Could be a brilliant day for him tomorrow.
Really good. Well, the Iceman of the WRC has kept his cool, kept his calm. This was him talking to us a little earlier on.
For sure, not the most enjoyable day. In terms of result and position where we are, for sure, it's one of the best days, but in terms of how much you enjoy when you drive this kind of speed, it's not really nice. So, but you know, I want to make it this way. I don't want to take any risks, and on the other hand, we've been also saving the tires for this stage, so we should be fine.
Are there any particular techniques that you use to keep yourself just contained within, you know, the excitement levels? Is there any particular techniques you use to keep that level?
Well, breathe in and out, I guess.
That keeps you alive.
Yeah.
Well, what did that mean then for the boys behind? Well, they were a long way behind, obviously, Esa-Pekka Lappi, but you know, the focus switched from the battle for the lead to now the battle for second place between Adrian Formeau and Elfyn Evans. There was only, 11-12 seconds between them at the start of the day, and do you know what? I'd have put my house on Elfyn Evans catching Formeau, but Formeau, James, has been magnificent, and his lead at the end of the day is
16 odd seconds.
16 odd seconds, and that's defendable going into tomorrow.
It is. It's a short day tomorrow. He's driven brilliantly, hasn't he? Elfyn took a big chunk of time out. It looked like he was going to take a big chunk of time out of him on the final stage of the morning loop and made his own mistake. But since then, almost held his own. He's lost tiny little bits of time, but nothing significant. And then, oh my goodness, Colin.
He gave us a fright in the
He
final
gave
stage.
us a big fright. You know, it's Malcolm Wilson's birthday today, Cole, and it was almost ruined on the last stage of the day.
Oh.
First, Gregor Munster went off, stuffed it in a snowbank, had to get out and shovel his way out. But then as he was doing that, his teammate Adrian Formo comes up behind him, probably a bit distracted, and almost does the exact same thing. Hits the snowbank, but somehow keeps his foot in it and manages to get out. Unbelievable, but somehow he also extended his lead over Elvin Evans by 4 seconds.
How does that work?
I've
How
got no
does that
idea.
work? Well, I tell you how it works. It works by, you know, the driver growing in confidence with his car, and he's clearly, okay, he lost a few seconds there, but he's clearly really confident in his ability now, the car's ability, and he's growing into a very fine driver, young Formo, at a pace that is quite unexpected. We knew he could get better. We knew perhaps it would take a bit of time for him to find the pace that allows him to compete for podiums. But do you know what? This weekend he has been quite magnificent on the back of an enormously impressive Monty.
Exactly, and what a start to the season it's turning into for him and for M Sport. You know, we expected maybe results to come later in the year, but really he's over-delivering right now.
He really is. Do you know what? I did doubt at the start of the day whether or not Adrian could catch or could stay ahead of Elvin Evans, and I made the mistake of telling him that a little bit earlier on in the media zone. Said to Elvin at the start of the day, I'd have bet all my money on him catching you today, but it didn't happen.
So you have lost all your money?
I would have lost all my money.
So you're lucky you didn't.
I would never bet more than €5.
So you're not really confident on my pace, isn't it?
Not your pace, but you know, you've got to admit that you've surprised a lot of people out there today with your pace. You've come on quicker maybe than a lot of people expected, me included.
Well, I think so. It's good, but to be fair, I'm happy. We have done a really good day until there. We have managing really well the tires. Also, I think we have really good front tires now. So we'll see for the next one. There's still one stage to do, but if we can get the second position, it's fantastic. If it's the third, it's still fantastic. So to be fair, we have been fighting with Evans today. It was really enjoyable for me. Quite stressful sometimes, but really enjoyable.
Yeah, so listen, I doubted whether he could stay ahead of Evans today. I tell you what, I've got every faith in him being able to stay ahead of Elvin tomorrow, because Elvin doesn't seem to have an answer to this extra little bit of pace that Formo's found.
No, he's not got an answer. He just struggled all afternoon, really. You know, not happy. Tyres probably wearing away on that gravel, and okay, he probably made the argument that he couldn't have done anything. He did all he could do. Adrian drove well. If you look at the times of the top drivers this afternoon, none of them are really setting the timesheets alight. So that's what he'd say. But you know, the crucial thing is, Colin, that with these new points that are awarded on Saturday night, he's missed the opportunity to go and grab a couple more. And yes, he might pass Adrian on the leaderboard tomorrow, but it doesn't matter. He's lost the points. It's only the Sunday points that are available to him now.
So there are two crucial things there, and you're absolutely right. The one crucial thing is there were 2 points extra available. He's missed that. But the second crucial point is that he's finished top in terms of the 3 main title protagonists this year. He scores more than Neuville and he scores more than Tanak. What's a little bit scary for the opposition is that Elvin knows that he's not there yet. There are rallies that suit him better than others, but what he's managing to do is bring points in. Bring those points in, secure those points, and he knows that that's more important than perhaps showing the odd glimpses of pace here and there and risking accidents.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, third in Monty, looks like he's going to be third again in Sweden. If you'd have offered him that at the start of the season, I think he probably would have taken it, given that he knows, as you say, some of his better rallies are coming later in the year.
Yeah, let's see what Elvin can do in that battle with Adrian tomorrow. But listen, we talked about it at the top of the show. James, we talked about that battle at the front we were looking forward to that really didn't last. It only lasted a stage and a bit. Takasan. You said it earlier on, the smallest mistake heavily punished. But that's Sweden. That is Sweden. Enormous disappointments. And Takasan was devastated, it's fair to say. But it's a continuation of a bit of a pattern, sadly, and he needs to find a way out of this situation.
He does, and unfortunately, it's kind of a new low for him. I fear. I think we saw a pattern of last season where he had quite a rough start, and it took him such a long time to kind of get over that. And it was only really in Japan that we kind of saw Taka again back on the attack, and now we've had this. I sort of fear for where it might go for him from here. But yeah, an enormous disappointment. Golden opportunity to win.
But there are positives. There are always positive. The positive is he has once again shown he has the pace. Let's hear what Jari-Matti thought about the problems for Takamoto Katsuta out there today. What was your instruction to Takamoto this morning?
This morning when we had a talk, I just told him that not to think about too much Esa-Pekka, just focus on his own performance, carry on with the same speed, because I said to him that with that speed what you're doing, the result will come. Just don't think about too much Esa-Pekka and his performance. Focus on your own, put the energy on your own driving.
Why do you think this keeps happening? Because there's now, you can't deny it's a pattern. It's a pattern. He gets into a good position, gets under a bit of pressure, and he makes mistakes. Why does that keep happening?
I think Taka, what happens is Taka is trying to lift up the speed too quickly. He wants to beat, but and he wants to gain that a position, then the podium or the win, but he wants too much too soon, and raising up the level of the speed suddenly one level brings higher risks, and this is something what we would try to need to avoid in the future. We need to you need to build up the speed, that it comes progressively, and that one quick kick you can give it for one stage, but if you give it all the time, then it can end up badly.
Just completed the one-day women's rear wheel drive class at Dirtfish, and it was a blast.
New experiences, learning a lot, it's a lot of fun.
All the enthusiasm from all the women. I felt a lot more comfortable in the car and got a lot more out of the class. And I think everyone should do it.
So yeah, let's wait and hope to see a rapid bounce back from Takamoto Katsuta. Tomorrow, James, is a big day. We have a 25-kilometre stage to start. It's then instantly repeated, and then a 10-kilometre. This one repeated at the end of the day. What we've seen is Rovanperä and Tanak in particular cruising around today, but getting themselves perhaps in the mood for tomorrow, because tomorrow with 12 points on offer in terms of the championship is massive, in particular for Tanak and Neuville, who's very much there. He's up to pace. He's found his place in the overall standings.
He has. He's been pretty quick this afternoon. He's won a couple of stages.
Yeah.
He's saying the car's a little bit better than it was in the morning for him, so yeah, he's going to be right there trying to get those 12 points on offer tomorrow. Voigt Tanak absolutely needs as many points as possible. We know his road position isn't going to be as strong, but will that matter? Is it better actually to be earlier on the road, because we're going to go twice through a 25-kilometre stage back to back? Is that going to be...
No historics tomorrow, remember, either.
No historics either.
So that will help. That will help. The second pass won't be quite so bad for the first car on the roads.
That's true.
Yeah, you could be right. First on the roads, we're expecting temperatures overnight of around about -14. It could be a really lovely ice base. It could be Tanak's conditions out there tomorrow.
It could be. And again, conditions gonna be a big part of the story tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what? The story of yesterday was the performance of our WRC2 drivers. Linname won a stage. Solberg, I think, won a couple of stages, didn't he, yesterday? Certainly won one stage, and he was third overall overnight. What happened today, James?
Well, they all dropped back, Colin, as we expected, but crucially, Oliver Solberg has doubled his lead over the second place driver, Sami Piari. He's now a minute ahead. This is, well, I was going to say in the bag there. I'm not going to jinx myself, but he's very nearly got this one in the bag.
Big day tomorrow, folks, in terms of kilometres for Sunday anyway. 3 stages, 61 kilometres still to go. Listen, we thought today was all over before this final stage. It was far from it. There was drama in there. What more drama might we see here in Sweden? Who knows? Who knows what tomorrow has in store for us? But what I can guarantee you is that wherever you might be around the world, you can follow it all on dirtfish.com. Where is it? Above James's head. There's the button.
That way or that way?
There's the button above James's head.
Click there.
Dirtfish Live Centre for all the action so far from Rally Sweden. and then tomorrow, all the drama, action, all the stories as they unfold. Once again, from a very chilly, the temperatures are plummeting, I'll tell you, the cameraman's toes are practically falling off from a very chilly Sweden. Thanks very much, folks. See you tomorrow.